Wir sitzen hier mit David Braben, dem Schöpfer von Elite, dem legendären Spiel, ein legendärer Spieleentwickler also. Und ja, jetzt stellen wir ein paar Fragen zum aktuellen Elite Dangerous und hoffen, dass er möglichst detailreiche Informationen gibt über den neuesten Stand der Dinge. David, very nice. It's so nice. It's a great honor for us to be here. Thank you very much. So, what can you tell us the newest things about Elite Dangerous?
Well, thank you. You're very kind. So, I'm very pleased with where we are with Elite Dangerous. We're here at Gamescom. We've just released Beta 1, which hopefully a lot of people have played. Loads of people are joining us playing the game. So I'm very proud of where we are now. In terms of where we are now, obviously people have seen the alpha. We gradually built out the game, but we're building out the game in a way I've always wanted to build games, which is to build it properly from the ground up, addressing the key things first. So getting the moment-to-moment gameplay absolutely right, getting the ship to feel right, because if we don't have that, we don't have a game. So that's what we did at the start of the alpha, then built out the multiplayer. We've got a novel approach to multiplayer that took a while to get right, got that right. And we're building forward. Think of it as building a house, great foundations, great walls. The stage we're at now is we have our empty house and we're now putting furniture in the rooms. We're building more and more story out. So that at the moment where parts of it feel a bit empty, there'll be more and more that can happen, more and more to discover.
Okay, so story is the next part you're working at?
Yes, I probably wouldn't have used that, it's more things to discover, things to happen. Because for me, story is what you make of the things that you discover.
Okay, so you're talking about the whole sandbox thing, right?
Sort of, I am. I mean, it's one of the ways I like to describe it is when I was a kid, I saw the wonderful Star Wars film in 1977, and I saw it several times. And I remember my dad saying, slightly teasingly, "Oh, you're just going to see that Rescue the Princess story again." And I was horrified, because no, that's not what I was watching. I was immersing myself in the world. I wanted the world, that whole Mos Eisley, the contrast, the big star destroyers, the shiny spaceships, all that sort of thing. And I think, to me, the story was almost inconsequential. The whole rescuing Princess Leia was just a way of exploring the world. And so I've always looked at story as something that you make for yourself, and it's the immersion in the world that's the richness. And that's what I see about the game. If you like, we've got a massive multiplayer game, and you can't have a million Rescue the Princess stories happening in parallel. It just doesn't make sense. If you've got a million princesses, they're not very important, are they? You know what I mean? And so the way I see it is there are more and more things you discover. The story is about your own progress. So when someone comes up to you after you've reached a certain stage in the game, that's a proper story, and that can happen to everyone. You say, "Oh, you weren't asked to join the secret organisation, were you?"
Okay, so that sandbox thing I mentioned.
Yeah, that is the sort of thing I mean. Because it's the freedom that I value, the sort of sandbox. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, and beside this random missions, the random things that happen in the sandbox environment, are you going to put in some missions, like random missions maybe, or no, even written missions like we had in Elite 2?
Oh, certainly. I mean, all things ultimately are created by people anyway. We got some simple missions in the game now, which is carrying things between other places, but much more involved missions where you might be involved with a bit of espionage, taking a picture of some secret place, but where the opportunity to daisy chain things, like you might be asked to assassinate a particular person, but then there was a knock-on effect, because if you kill them and you're seen killing them, then someone else will come after you, and it will all daisy chaining to quite a rich adventure, where especially if the person sent after you is another player, which makes that alone becomes quite interesting, and some interesting moral dilemmas.
And are you going to implement maybe something like a space newspaper, which you already had in Elite 3?
We did. So yes, we're starting to do it already through, if you follow the newsletters, the whole story is about progenitor cells and the rebellion on Eronin.
Yeah, but I mean in-game.
Yeah, we will move that in-game.
Okay.
That sort of thing will happen in-game, and we will even have players featuring in the newsletters. If you have, in the in-game news feeds, because you will be able to select different news feeds, so some will be local to where you are now, and some will be across the galaxy. And so if it's local to where you are now, and maybe there is a player who's been doing a lot of piracy, he would become quite a notorious pirate.
Ah, okay.
And then a lot of players could choose to go after him.
So you can really be part of the game.
Yeah. Well, isn't that lovely? I mean, I like
it
that
is.
with the newspapers and
it's better than every story you had to write, yeah.
But that's what I mean by that's where we're starting to put furniture in the rooms. You know, the game, we've already got a game. You can already play it. The first few players have already got, the first guy got an Anaconda a few days ago, I think, using a ridiculous number of hours of gameplay. And in fact, if you work out the number of hours since we released Beta 1, that's pretty impressive. He's not slept that much. Or she, I don't know who it is.
Are you going to make some events maybe, like space races or something like this?
We could do, but I would like things that fit in the world. You know, what I don't want is things that spoil the immersion. You know, if it's something that makes sense that people would do, then yes. You know, the whole Beaujolais Nouveau, where people would race to get the first cutting, or in the 19th century, the tea clippers, the first person with a cargo from the new harvest to get back would get a lot more money. I think there will be things like that, where suddenly a special, you know, maybe the first flowering of some exotic alien plant, and maybe the flowers taste really nice, but they have to be really fresh. You can just imagine that when the first harvest of this happening on some distant world, and the first person to get that to Earth.
And the influence on the trading.
Yeah, it's lovely. And then so suddenly this trade goods appears, and then on Earth the price would be sky high because of high demand and no supply. And then suddenly the first player that gets to satisfy that demand brings the price down. And it's that sort of thing we will do. Because I think that's fun, and it fits in the context of the world, and it is sort of a race.
Okay, let's talk about race. What do you think? Who is leading the race between Star Citizen and Elite?
Well, I mentioned I was a science fiction fan. Yeah. I avidly read science fiction books. You know, at the time, I didn't think it was a race between, I don't know, Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle to write the next science fiction book. I would read both of them. And with Star Citizen, I'm a backer of Star Citizen. Chris Roberts is a backer of Elite. You know, both I think will be different. They will be great games. I think we are on a slightly quicker timescale because we're releasing this year. But it's not so much a race to deliver. It's how good will the games be. And I think I'm very confident we're in a good place. We have a mature team. We have a mature engine. You know, so we've had a good cadence of deliveries. I'm looking forward to playing Star Citizen. When it comes out, because we've seen very few space games that certainly I've really wanted to play, and Star Citizen will be one of them.
And what's the great feature, the next great feature we can looking forward to it?
Well, I think it's essentially building out the missions, exploring more and more of the galaxy. You know, there is a lot going in terms of richness. I mean, there is a whole long list of features that will happen even post-release, because we've said we're not going to stop when the game comes out. We're going to keep making content. We've talked about other big ticket features like landing on planets and things like that.
Yeah,
post-release.
That would be great.
Oh yeah, but one of the reasons we could do that now. We could do that now, but it would be empty. It would be an empty experience. You'd see a featureless grey landscape, maybe with a building on it. And I mean, I did Landing on Planets in Frontier in 1993, and I sort of regretted it because I put a lot of effort into the procedurally generated cities, but they all felt the same. And so I started to think, oh, that was a lot of work.
But the feeling to be on Mars and then activating the time lapse and watching the clouds and night, day cycles. This was great.
I know, but to do that well, I want to be able to get out in a buggy. I want to be able to drive around. I want to be able to meet other players. You know, there is a lot of infrastructure we need to make that work really well. And I'd rather we make it work really well than do something we then have to go back from, and then in order to go forward. And I think that's the challenge. I also want to be able to walk around your spaceships. I want to be able to board other ships. You know, all of those things. I want to be able to have multiple players in the different pilot seats. You know, all of those things I think are very, very rich, but they're almost like whole new games. You know, I want you to be able to float around your ship, grab handles, repel boarders in your ship that sort of might still be on fire.
So right now, would it be more realistic to accept things like, I mean, regarding the planet, things like landing on a mining planet maybe? I mean, on a mining planet there's a one base, mine, and there's nothing more.
That's
so
true.
It could be a technique possible?
All these things are possible. The other thing is focus. What I want us to do, I sort of mentioned at the start that we delivered things sensibly in order. We've kept our focus to deliver a great game. What I don't want to do is, to use an analogy of battle, if you open a war on too many fronts, you're going to lose on one of those fronts. And it's to be able to concentrate on lots of things at the same time, to me, is dangerous. I'm not saying we couldn't do it. We could do it, but my worry is it wouldn't be such a good experience. And so I would rather finish the game, relatively early this year. We said by the end of this year, and then we will start looking at these other features and adding those, and not compromise on those, and add them into. We've designed it in such a way that it will work well and consistently with the game world. You've seen here inside the cockpits. This is a Lakon Type 9, a giant multi-story cockpit. We've worked out. We know the interiors of the ships. We know how that door goes through to the cargo bay. All of those things. You will be able to get out and walk to it. You might hear a noise as people are trying to get in through the airlock. Or it might be fire there. All of those things is a richness where you need a vast amount of content to be able to make it feel really good. Your friend might be sitting in the other seat doing your navigation. You say, look, quick, Fred, can you go back there? Can you go and put out the fire? Can you go and sort this out? Or maybe I will. Look, you take control. I'm going to go and fight these guys. But because you need so many things. You need handguns, you need first-person combat. All of those things in Zero-G is a delightful challenge, and I look forward to it. But I want to do it right. And I'd rather it doesn't detract the focus from getting the game that we're doing now right. Because I think we're in a really good place. Don't get me wrong, we've had a really great cadence of deliveries. I'm very proud. The team have done a phenomenal job. Everything from making sure we support high-tech hardware, low-tech hardware. We're supporting 4K, which you've seen. SLI is coming soon, that's another big feature. And we've shown supporting 8K as well, even though that you can't buy monitors. I haven't seen them support 8K yet, but it will come. And over time we'll see that we've released 16K sheet screenshots as well, and I think we're the first to do that.
Yeah, doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to see when it goes more and more forward.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
So, hier bei Elite Dangerous zeigt uns jetzt John, wie das Spiel so funktioniert und was die neuesten Features sind.
Hi there, so I can show you some of the new features in Beta 1. We are in the Ewelin Enterprise star system, so this particular location here has got a lot of high-tech equipment available to us. We've got the Class 3 beam lasers, Class 2 multi-cannons, really powerful weapons. I'm flying the Viper here, which is a heavy fighter, so it's a new ship added to Beta 1. Great fun to play. Beta 1's also added support for custom paint jobs for your ship, so you can pick your home country if you wish. I'm going to go ahead and fly the flag. Love the customization options in there. You can see there's some real detail that's gone into how these particular components work. Different weapons have weight values, which allows you to customize your ship. If you reduce the weight, you get more range on your ship. But this one I've fitted it for combat. The Beta 1 also, we've got the first support for mission systems, so we've got these procedurally generated missions. This one's a simple cargo run to a nearby system. It's quite simple, so I'm going to accept that one. Whilst I'm going there, I might as well look, see if there's something else I can trade. So I'm going to take a look in the galaxy map here. And as we zoom in, you can see the detail in the galaxy map here. So I'm starting off in Ewelin. This is in the center of this region of stars here. There's 55 star systems available in Beta 1. It's a huge play area, 38,000 cubic light years. It's massive, massive play space. Every single one of those you can visit. That's going to get progressively larger. There are 160,000 real stars that have been gathered from scientific data and things like that, and all hand corrected by a guy back in the office, Michael Brooks. So his fingers must be bleeding. There's a lot of typing. As we zoom out from that bubble there, you can see eventually we come out to the full 400 billion star systems. It's a very, very big play space. One of the other new features is added into Beta 1. We can now get to this nice trade view here. Shows you where the commodities are being imported and exported. They're color coordinated by category, so I can start to drill down, and I can even go into each individual commodity And here I can see that there's some good links here. There's some things which are going to be very good for me to take to Opala. So I'm going to go ahead and take off now. I've already given myself some cargo there. Some progenitor cells, a very good commodity to take to this star system. As we come up out of the launch pad here, you can see the mechanical feel of it. It's all been thought out, how it fits, how the whole world works together. I'm going to go ahead and launch off the pad now. Now we are playing this live online right now, so there's other players going around, other ships going about. You might see the guys in the room next door going about doing other demos, which is really cool. It's actually live and running now. I love the detail you see inside this particular docking port. Now, the whole station is rotating to give the sense of gravity. And that central section is smaller, so you get about 0.1 Earth G, which is great for moving freight around, things like that. But further out, as we come out to the edge here, you've got this 8-kilometer radius ring here, which is the habitat ring. Some fantastic details in here. If I can get to where the sun's lighting it up, you can see here some of the details. Individual 3D buildings and everything. One of the fans on the forum actually calculated that the area inside that ring is the size of GTA 4, which is crazy to think that. So go ahead. So as I zoom out here, I'm going to head over to the other star system here. You can see the background of the stars here, the galaxy. That is actually calculated from the galaxy map. Every one of those points of light is a real star in 3D space, and you can travel to that if you want to. It's not just like a painted background, it is three-dimensional. It's really cool. So at the moment I'm traveling at combat speeds. In order to get to other systems, I've got to engage my hyperdrive, which gives me that faster than light travel to another system. A lot of the game is based on virtually all of the game is scientifically accurate down to the tiny, tiny little details, and hyperspace is the only little white lie because we have no idea how it works. So as we drop into this new star system now, you can see the gravity well of the sun has captured me. You can see all the lovely details in there. The surface is actually bubbling and moving. You've got the magnetic field lines, all the flares occurring there. The detail in these stars are fantastic. You can see the nearest station is over there, so I'm going to head to this station. I've got to stay outside of this gravity well of the star there because it'll interfere with my drives if I get too close to it. You see some of the lovely detail and the flares going off there. It's all animated procedurally. It's fantastic. You can see here there's another planet and there's the orbit line. All of the planets are 1-to-1 scale, orbiting in real time. So you can see like day-night cycles and whole time lapses and things that people have done. Oh, so I'm being interdicted now. Okay. So what happens here is someone has used a module on their ship to interfere with my faster than light travel. It's pulled me back into combat speeds. So I'm going to try and find them on my scanner. No one in range just yet. Oh, here we go. So we've got 3 freighters here, very, very large ships, the Lakon Type 9s. They've been pulled out of their travel by these pirates here. You can see they're attacking. These are 4 smaller sidewinders. And this is the great thing about the game now. I can decide what I want to do. I can just fly off, ignore it. I can help these traders. I can help the pirates and take some of that cargo for myself. It literally is up to me what I want to do. I mean, what would you like me to see? Shall I...
Attack the traders.
Attack the pirates, yeah. It's always good fun. The great thing about the game is that it's really easy to pick up and play. It's, by default, it just works very, very well, but there's a lot of levels of detail in here. Here you can see in the bottom right corner, there's this power management system here. I can switch more power into engines to catch up with this guy. I can switch more into weapons. So I've got more power, I can sustain fire longer, or enable my shields. I've also got to take into account the heat of my ship here. It will build up the more I use my weapons, the more I thrust with my engines and things like that. It's 1 down. So there's some real levels of layers to the gameplay, which is really, really cool. So you can see my beam lasers have got this gimbaling, so they give me a bit of aim assist on there. I can aim for that target indicator in front, so I can try and take them in. Different weapons are effective at different types of damage. Beam lasers are very good, well, lasers in general are very good at reducing the shields on a ship, to bring the shields down, and then when you get to that point, you can use the multi-cannons and weapons like that to start bringing the hull damage up. just going to put more power back into engines. Like I said there, I can get the drop on this guy. He's trying to get out of my line of fire here. One down. Whoa, that was close. But like I said, this is the open beta right now, so it really is my choice to do whatever I want. Even after I finish these pirates off, I could go in, I can take those cargo for myself if I want. I can have all of that route bounty to myself, so it's really, really cool. Let's see if I can take this last guy. Maximum power to weapons. Boom! There we go. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Das war's also mit Elite Dangerous. Das Spiel ist erhältlich ab sofort in der Beta. Ihr könnt es kaufen online und es lohnt sich.